Good evening. I am Rudy El Khoury, Dean of the School of Architecture. I'd like to thank you for joining us tonight for our Tecnoglass lecture. A few words about the series. The Tecnoglass series is a sponsored series. It's in its 9th year. Next year, we'll be celebrating the 10th year of the series. And we have been able to sustain a themed, very intense collection of lectures that are themed and curated because of the generous support of our sponsor, Tecnoglass. I would like to acknowledge their continued investment in this forum. This year, we are doing a few things differently. Our curator for the series, my colleague Veruska Vasconez, had some interesting ideas. One, she wanted the students to be more involved in the series, so they will be presenting the theme, the speaker tonight, but also, that's another new thing we have, other supporters and sponsors that Veruska, with her entrepreneurial energy, has actually enlisted for the series and made it even better. So now I'm going to bring to the podium the student who's going to tell you about all those things.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Yana Pushica, and I'm a graduate student here at the University of Miami School of Architecture. Welcome to the 4th Tecnoglass lecture of our Fall 2025 series. We are delighted to have you here this evening as we continue this semester's exploration of contemporary architectural practice and discourse. The Tecnoglass lecture series has long been a space where we come together to explore how architecture can engage with the most pressing questions of our time, and tonight continues that tradition. Before we begin this evening's program, I would like to start off by sharing a few words on behalf of our professor, Veruska Vasconez, whose curational vision and dedication have shaped this remarkable series. Professor Vasconez wishes to express her deepest gratitude to all those whose support and collaboration have made this curation possible. First and foremost, she extends her sincerest thanks to José Maria Ferreira and his family, whose generosity and steadfast support of OLAB and our School of Architecture have been instrumental in fostering new dialogue and partnerships. It was through José Maria's introduction that Professor Vasconez had the greatest privilege of meeting Ana Leal, owner and editor-in-chief of AMAG Publisher. Ana, your vision, generosity, and unwavering dedication to architectural culture have profoundly shaped this series. Thank you for helping curate and introducing distinguished speakers Felipe Vissen, Jean-Christophe Canton, and Manuel Mateus, whose work continues to redefine the global architectural discourse. To Professor Vasconez, Ana is far more than an editor. She's a catalyst, a visionary presence, whose passion and intellect bridges the worlds of practice, theory, and publication, giving life to a deeper architectural dialogue. Tonight also marks a special occasion, the launch of Professor Vasconez's first publication with AMAG, titled Housing, Infrastructure, and Transportation, Volume 1. The City as a Stage, Housing, and the Stories We Built. This book represents a collective effort and a shared belief in architecture's capacity to address the challenges of our time: housing, equity, and the evolving infrastructure of contemporary life. She would also like to extend her heartfelt thanks to Ablera and Tintoni for their generous financial support in making this publication possible. Once again, on behalf of everyone here at the University of Miami, thank you, Ana, and thank you, José Maria, for your vision and support. And to all of you joining us tonight, this series and this evening would not be possible without you guys, without your presence, curiosity, and continued engagement in these conversations about housing, design, and the world we continue to build together. Please join me in a round of applause and gratitude to Ana Leal, José Maria Ferreira, and Professor Verusca Vascones for her leadership in creating this lecture series. And of course, a warm thank you as well to Manuel Mateus for being here tonight. It's now my pleasure to welcome Victoria, who will introduce this semester's fourth lecture in this series and its theme, Housing for All.
Thank you, Yana. My name is Victoria Puri, and I'm also a graduate student here at the University of Miami. Welcome to the Fall 2025 Tecnoglass Lecture Series, Housing for All. Across the globe, an extraordinary shift is unfolding. A call to re-envision the very foundations of daily life, dwelling, stability, and dignity, so that they are not scarce commodities, but shared cultural achievements. In this pivotal moment of climatic flux, geopolitical transformation, and shifting social horizons, architecture stands as both a sanctuary and a catalyst, giving form to the more just, generous, and imaginative ways of living together. Housing for All emerges from the conviction that dwelling must do more than enclose. It must evaluate, inspire, and respond. As Jane Jacobs reminds us, cities have the capability of providing something for everybody, only because and only when they are created by everybody. Embodying this ethos, the 5 invited practices unite intellectual rigor with humane empathy, marrying formal precision to the intricate rhythms of everyday life. Each architect speaks a unique dialect of place, material, and light. Yet all share a devotion to crafting spaces at once intimate and civic, abstract and rooted. This autumn, the Tecnoglass Lecture Series foregrounds their work. Architecture that resists the glare of spectacle and listens attentively to context and community. Together, their projects offer not merely shelter but meaning, proposing new forms of belonging, intimacy, and collective flourishing. This year's series features 5 distinguished voices: Philippe Wesson from Switzerland, Elizabeth Whitaker from the United States, Jean-Christophe Contant from France, Eris Mateus from Portugal, and Codefi from France. Together, these practices offer a compelling response to the call for housing for all, reminding us that housing is not only a right, but a condition for human flourishing. This series is both an homage and an inquiry, and invites us to reflect on the emotional, political, and cultural renaissance of the spaces we call home. It challenges us to reconsider housing not as a unit to be replicated, but as a living framework for belonging, for beauty, and for shared everyday life. And with that, it's my pleasure to introduce Rafaela, who will share a brief overview of tonight's distinguished speaker, Manuel Mateus.
Thank you, Victoria. Good evening, everyone. My name is Rafaela Castillo, and I am a graduate student from the University of Miami. It is a true honor to welcome Manuel Mateus, our 4th speaker in the Fall 2025 Tecnoglass series of University of Miami School of Architecture. Mateus' work embodies an architecture of profound clarity, one that transforms simplicity into depth, silence into presence, and light into structure. His architecture, often described as poetic minimalism, reveals not the excess of form, but a sense of space. Through the play of geometry, void, and light, his buildings active a rare equilibrium at once abstract and deeply human. From the sculptural serenity of Santa Maria Lighthouse Museum to the contemplative landscape of Casa em Melides, his work invites us to inhabit silence, to perceive light as matter, and to experience architecture as both refuge and revelation. His buildings do not imitate their surroundings. They engage them in a quiet, powerful dialogue. An encounter between nature, time, and human intent. Born in Lisboa in 1963, Manuel Aires Mateus graduated from the Faculdade de Arquitetura de Lisboa in 1986. Together with his brother, Francisco Aires Mateus, he founded the Lisbon-based practice Aires Mateus in 1988. Over the past 3 decades, their studio has built an extraordinary body of work that expands Portugal and beyond, marked by formal rigor, craftsmanship, and profound respect for place. Parallel to his professional practice, Aires Mateus has maintained a deep commitment to education. Since 1986, he has taught at institutions such as Harvard Graduate School of Design, Cornell University, the Oslo School of Architecture, the University of Ljubljana, and the University of Navarra. He is currently a professor at the Universidade Autônoma de Lisboa and the Academia de Arquitetura de Mendrisio, Switzerland. His work has been celebrated in major exhibitions worldwide, including multiple appearances at the Venice Architecture Biennale, as well as the Chicago Architecture Biennale, the Centre de Creation Contemporary Olivier Desprez in France, the Sceaux Biennale at Architecture and Urbanism. His projects have been intensively published in El Croquis, Arquitetura Viva, GA, AMAG, and 2G, among others. Aires Mateus has received numerous awards, including Valmor Prize, the Cecil Prize, the Honor Prize, and multiple FAD awards, as well as the Pessoa Prize in 2017. In recognition of his contributions to architecture, he was named Commander of the Honor of the Order of the Infante de Henrique, and in 2022 received an honorary doctorate from Faculty of Architecture of Lisbon. Through his teaching, writing, and built work, Manuel Aires Mateus continues to remind us that architecture is not merely the act of building, but of shaping light, form, and time, of giving meaning to the spaces we inhabit. Please join me in welcome to the stage Manuel Aires Mateus.
Okay, it's okay? Okay. So I'll start by thank you, and thank you, the university, for this very kind invitation. I thank you, Verushka, for all she have done to organize this. Of course, I thank Ana and Jose Maria, my very good friends that also contribute to having me here. And okay, and I thank you all to be here. Okay, to select to do something here for me was a little bit complicated. I like numbers. I like things that make a certain sense. And when there came this idea of housing for all, I mean, I was thinking about what can I talk about? What kind of projects should I present this evening? And it came to my mind this idea of presenting 5 projects in 5 different materials. So go one material, one after the other, because I think that it's very important to reflect about this idea that there's not a way of building. And an architect should not have a way of doing, should found in every project a result. A project should be an investigation that ends in a form, a space, a material, a result. And then I thought about also talking about 5 projects, so another 5 projects make a sense to have 5 materials, 5 other projects. So I select 5 projects in the 5 continents. Also because I think that building and thinking about a project, it's a deep way of knowing a place. And it's very interesting for an architect to go and work in the place that doesn't know very well, and in the end is obliged to find out about a place because he's doing a project. So the idea of these projects is because also some of them are going to be built, some of them are going to be in the beginning, some of them are going to be under construction. And it's also for me interesting to show you, because for me a project, it never stops. And even the project that we realized and we finished, we still keep working on the project in an intellectual level, of course, in order to take advantage of the process that we have done to do the project. So my idea here is not also to show you projects. It's because I don't think that it's so interesting to show you project because you can see it everywhere. But it's also to use this project as an excuse to talk about architecture. So the first project that I'm going to show you is a project in south of Lisbon, so 100 kilometers south of Lisbon. And it's a project in this port. What's interesting in this port is that it's a medieval port. So you can imagine that you look at this, and this structure have 500 years. But the construction that exists there cannot resist for more than, 30 years, 25, 30 years. And this idea is an idea that brings something that is very important for architecture. The resistance now, it's no longer about the physical element, but it's more about an idea. So the principles or the condition of this place resist, even if we know that the physicality of all these are going to change. And this is absolutely protected now. And we had the chance to have two of these small these small spaces for fishermen, and somebody bought them, and we were allowed to replace these two elements. So we are talking about 9 meters plus 9 meters. The only things that exist there were the two small structures there in wood, and that was a pier, a small pier here. And we replaced this for a house, for a small house. So I forgot to tell you, all of the projects I'm going to show you, they are private houses, small private houses. Small, not small. Some of them are huge, but private houses. But you see it here. So the existence element was this pier, and we were allowed to build this 9 plus 9 square meters. And this is a living room that goes like this because you need more space on the back, and you have the ceiling opening to the outside. And the other one, the other one is a bedroom that is larger here because we have the bathroom in the front, and the ceiling protects you. So it goes on that direction in order to protect you. All the construction, it's built and reuse wood. We just use this very simple wood that we use in the normal constructions in no matter where in Lisbon. We use the one older in the inside because it's not going to get more sun, and use what is more new on the outside. But you see the roofs are like this, one like this and the other one like this. So the relation was the pier was the only pre-existing things. We made the two sheds, and then we'd also designed this platform to connect it to the pre-existing pier. So this is the bedroom. The bedroom is like this. You have a space here for a bed. They're very small, a small bathroom, and this is the shower. We can also open this, and the shower became bigger looking outside. Also, one aspect here is there are no infrastructure. So on the bedroom, there are not even a single plug. You only have a switcher that says on and off. So no technology at all. And this is the ambience. There are some mosquitoes, so we have a tent to protect people from the mosquitoes. But it is this kind of I never know that it is very romantic or absolutely claustrophobic. But there's something between very claustrophobic and very romantic. So here you see the two sheds, so the one where you have here, and this is the bedroom. The living room, you have it like this, so you only have, this is a small kitchen here. There's a plug here for the telephone, hidden on the inside. And this is the ambience that you have looking outside. This is where you have, the plug is there, inside here, and all is built on the same wood. So the old wood, it's here in the inside. And this is the ambience that you have there. This is another house. This also where first we start with wood. This is concrete. And this is a house built in front of the biggest artificial lake made in Europe. This is a big lake that starts in Portugal back on the 60s. And it's very big, but very flat. But they made this lake, and everything, of course, is protected around the lake. And we get a permission to build a house because the pre-existing house ends under the water. So they gave us a permission to build a house there on this plot. But of course, we were thinking about this idea of protecting the region because the region wanted to be protected. So we wanted to house a house that was very much integrated in here. The house for us was a house from south of Europe, a patio house. We wanted to design a house a patio house. A patio house is a house that connects, a patio is something that connects from the ground to the sky in a very vertical way. Of course, normally we have a patio house when everything is organized around this relation between the ground and the sky. Here, we wanted to have a patio house, but the house is oriented, and is oriented facing the water. So we wanted to design a patio house, but a patio that was oriented. And it came to my mind this very beautiful ruin south of Naples, where you have this ambience and you have a patio because you have a kind of a protection, but it's at the same time oriented to the water. And this was the starting point of the project. So for us, this was clear. We wanted to build a house around this external space oriented to the water. So we made the position, we chose the position of the house that was as close as possible of the water by regulations. It was, in reality, the law said 50 meters. We succeed, I don't know how, I cannot remember how we measured the 50 meters, but in reality they are 37. But I don't know, it's a kind of a different condition of measuring that allow us to have the house at 37 meters from the limit of the lake. So we put it in the position, and then we have make this big cupola. And then, of course, we were allowed to cut the cupola here because it would be too deep if the cupola was all there. We wanted to have the social areas of the house, let's say the kitchen, dining room here, and the living room there, connected to that. So let's say was this main space outside and the social areas of the house extending this big structure in concrete. And then, because this was too deep, we make another one that generates this intersection and creates here a hole to have light. Of course, we are talking about also references to these very classical elements like the Pantheon, where you have the light coming from the top. And this is also, for us, very, very important. So we extend this from the access. So we access from the roof here. And this is the corridor, this is the entrance. And here you have one window and another window here. And this is the circulation. And then you have the bedrooms are here, two here and one here. And they open to the this very private patios done in white tile to connect or to to bring light into the house. This was also important to think about the impact of the house. So the house is built in a concrete made with the earth that we found there, and it's also covered completely. So we wanted to reduce the scale of the house. And the scale that we have here are the scale of these holes that are as big as cars, let's say, so are the scale of a car. So we never have as an impact on this landscape the impact of a house. So we just have this smaller impact protecting this area that wanted to be protected. And we have this very special license that will respect the, let's say, what it's more, the law that goes around the area. And then, so you see, this is one that when the house was construction, and you see that it's this idea that we extend the ground and we only have the two patios to illuminate this very private and, warm bedrooms. And then you have the cupola here, there with the intersection on the cupola. So this is the plan, the final plan. So you see here the final plan, the entrance. This is the one bathroom, a bedroom and bathroom with this patio here, the living room completely open here, the kitchen dining room also open here, and the doors, they go in that direction because we want the doors to disappear completely. So we want this to continue in these spaces. And then the bedrooms, they are completely protected by this strange feeling of have more than 1 meter of earth on top of you. And this gives you not only a feeling of the temperature, but gives you a strange feeling of protection. So it's the section, so the access here, and then this intersection that creates this light here. And here you have the feeling of the house. So the house have this very warm concrete done with the earth from the region that you see there, and then you find these openings that are like negatives on this heavy concrete structure. So from the inside, you project yourself to the main space that in reality is this one. This is the light that came from there, but it is, and then you have the in front of you, the lake. The lake is very flat, so you can have the water at 200 meters or at 37. So, and this is the other space. So let's say, continue from this space in concrete, you extend from the dining room there. Two windows that open and leave completely open the two social areas. This is the access, and on the access, the house is all in concrete, but you have the presence of this natural wood to give us a feeling of a house, of a home, let's say. And so we use this natural wood on this area here on the entrance. And then you have the patios that are with these white tiles that to bring more light into the bedroom. So we have like these white tiles and then this white marble on the floor. And then this is the ambience on the social area. So we have like this extended, the light, the extension of this big cupola into these negative spaces. And also for us, the most important element of the house is the presence of this house, the way the house redesigned the landscape. So from the house, we have a special condition to read the landscape that is around the house. So changing material, now we go to bricks. And this is a house, a house, it's difficult to say a house, it's more a palace if you want. But it's a house that we made in a very, very large property. So it was a property that was not possible to understand the limits or the boundaries or anything. So we decided to start with a very clear shape. And the most clear shape that you can have in architecture is a square. So it's like a kind of thing that you cannot discuss. It's a square. So we decided to make a square. But one of the things that was as a starting point of this project was this idea of the clients that they were not very sure about the program that they wanted to for the house, but they want to have a house without no concrete. We were by the time doing the house on the city, so it was a very complicated structure in concrete. So the first thing was the decision of not having concrete. And then we decided, okay, so we're gonna do the house in brick because we thought maybe the brick is the right material. We were interested in bringing something timeless to the house. Also because the house was huge and we were thinking always that the house or what we do, the program, it's not what you wanted to achieve. It's an excuse that you use to produce architecture. So the program, it's an excuse. So we wanted to design a house that could become something else in the future. So we designed a house that could be a cultural center in the future, or could be, I don't know, a small hospital. I don't know, could be whatever it changed. So we were interested in design a kind of a grill that support this idea on the future. We design when we build the house like the Romans. So we start by making the foundations in a poor concrete, and it's the only concrete that we have on the house. Then it's only bricks. The bricks, and it was something that was a big lesson for us, we start and we do many walls, or many walls in brick, because we start designing the bricks in a way. We wanted to have like bricks put it in a certain way, and then the bricks decide that they should go and they should be like that. So the bricks that decide the way that they should be put it together. And it was the final result was a wall like that. It's a house obsessive done in bricks. We are talking about more or less 300,000 handmade bricks. And the house, this is the plan of the house. So the first decision, and the decision for the moment, because the house is prepared to change, so you could cover every patio, or you could open every space that it's now covered. Everything is brick, the same brick from the inside, from the outside, or from the pavements. The only thing that we cover the spaces with the light structure in wood. For the moment, what we have, it's a house that we have patios all around the house. So the house, for the moment, don't touch the limit. Have here one of the main patios, the patio with the swimming pool, the patio with the fire, the patio with the main trees, the small patios that have different flowers with different smells and different colors around the house, the patio where you can eat outside, the patio where you have the barbecue, and the patio of the fire, you have patios everywhere. And then the house, it's like a kitchen, main living room, the bedrooms for the kids, main bedroom here with a patio with a small and private swimming pool here. And then here are services, guests, and a small space for the kids to play. But of course, we imagine that we can cover this, or we can cover that, or we can change the project, prepare to be changed. So we imagine this project as a main structure, timeless, because everything works on the compression except the wood, but the wood could very easily be replaced, but we imagine that this could be changed no matter when. And you see here a photo during the construction, and you see that everything is from everywhere. And we need this to complete the house. So it's to complete the patio. So, and this is the idea. So the main idea is to have these enfilades in bricks, and then we design whatever it's inside. Here is the enfilade looking into the sea, crossing the swimming pool, the main garden here, with the main patio here, with the other patio that have the swimming pool, or you have the small, during when we were planting, these small patios in front of each one of the bedrooms. And here was what for me was more interesting. It's to, when you choose the plants according to smells and colors and seasons and things that you could really make the difference on each one of these spaces. See, this is where was the outside dining room, also one of the patios. Here it's inside, so inside it's the pavement, it's the same bricks, everything's always the same brick. There are not a single brick that have been cut, all the bricks are completed, and the materials are the brick, the wood on the top, solid stones in close to the windows, and bronze in everything that is metal. Not a cheap house, I must admit. But you see here the ambience. Even the infrastructures, they were inside these walls made in solid bricks. So nothing is fake. So the bricks here, these walls are like this because they are made in solid bricks. So you see here the ambience on the house. This is, for instance, the kitchen. And here it's the patio with a bathroom and a small private swimming pool on the main bedroom. Now we go to stone, south of Italy, and this is from the 15th century, a tower in Puglia. So we received this, and it was in a very open way. When a young couple from Milan, they came and they wanted to have a house for themselves. And we made a visit to the site to see what could be done in here. And when I arrived there, I was absolutely surprised by this tower. You know that it's always fantastic when you have something from the 15th century to make an intervention. So it's more than 500 years, and it's kind of a responsibility, but it's a joy. It's really a joy to operate in these very, very old structures. And when I came here, I was fascinated by the idea of the tower. So I proposed to these clients to demolish what it was not the tower, and use these stones to make all the pavements around the house, and also use these stones to build a small swimming pool that they wanted. I also convinced them because I mentioned that it's probably to have a house with just a single bedroom will be much more romantic. And so, but they end accepting that the idea of transforming this into just a tower. And our idea then, after this main idea, that was the idea of the project, was just follow the rules of the construction that was already there in stone. So you see here, we propose a main living room on this first floor, where we just make interventions when it was absolutely mandatory to make the kitchen or to make a function or to cross infrastructure through that, and leave everything exactly like it was originally. And so we're going to have a living room. We go up, we have a bedroom, we have a bathroom, and a small space that connects also that space to the level on the terraces. We have to imagine that the original function of these towers was also the idea of controlling the surroundings. So the idea for us of going up and going into this terrace was important. So this is the living room where we keep the stairs the way it is. It's dangerous stairs, but we decided to keep it like it is now. We just open here a small niche here. We open another one here. We use these pre-existing to install here a kitchen, and we even clean the floor to go into the original stones to use as a pavement. And this is the ambience. So these are the original stones. This is everything. And what you see here is what we have to make an intervention to cross structures or to put the key. So you see it here, where it was necessary to create infrastructures. We plastered with, let's say, the same material exactly that we have on that stones. And it's exactly the same material that we use there. And here you see the original stones on the floor, and then here some minimum furniture on the space. When you go up, this is also something that you just clean, and you arrive to there, and this is the ambience that you have on this first floor. You go up, you use the stairs. We never really retouch the stairs, so the stairs goes like it was. It's going up. So the stairs, you see it here, slightly dangerous, all this, but it's 500 years. You have to accept that. And then you go into the bedroom, and the bedroom is the same structure again, where you just plaster where it's necessary, and you leave exactly thing the way it was. Then the bathroom, and then you go up, and you see the terrace here, and then here is the use of that stone for the demolitions that you make here the swimming pool. And then all the passes are done with the stones that we demolish on the addition there. And this is the ambience that we have now there. Now we are in pretty much afraid because we have to do another house here, and it's always terrible to do a project beside another project we've made. So it's complicated. And we don't have anything with 500 years. We don't have anything, in fact. So it's complicated. So the last material that I'm going to talk, it's plastered, it's white. It's, what normally people used to say that our projects are all white. So this is the white one. And this one is a house in Barreiro. So Barreiro, it's a very city in the other side, on the south part of the River Tejo, in front of Lisbon, a very tough and industrial city. And this project starts in an incredible way, because it starts with a client. We were looking together for a place to build his own house. And we found these two warehouses. Each one of them they were in ruin, but each one of them have 10 by 20. So let's say the two together are 20 by 20 meters. The construction was poor, so we decided to restore the warehouses, but at the same time, leave the construction independent from these walls. And we made this, so we decided to keep the walls, restore the walls in a way, the walls that are there, but then build the house completely independent from this structure. We were also looking for something that is for us a kind of mystery that we love. This idea that when you build a wall, there's an effect that you create in one side, but another effect that you create in the other side. So in here, we were interested in, as a main experience, to design this line here that could create a swimming pool on a top and a kind of a suspended whale in the living room. And this is this effect that you can create by a compression in one side, something that's an extension in the other one. So the house then are living areas on the first floor and bedrooms on the ground floor and bedrooms on the first floor. Also, this house, it's in Barreiro, where traditionally we build boats since ever. And we were interested in this technology of building boats. So we build a boat at the reverse. So this is exactly the reverse of the traditional construction of a boat. So normally you made these bones here, and then you cover the bones from the outside, and you have a boat. Here, we made the bones, we designed one by one these bones, and then we cover the boat, not from the outside, but from the inside, to create the cast to build the roof of the building. And this is the result. So the result, it's a house completely where we restore the wall. We have these independent stairs to go up in one side and in the other. And you have this platform that is a fantastic position, because from that platform, you look into Lisbon. It's in an incredible way because this is very close to the river. So you look in front of you, you have the Lisbon. And then this is just a kind of topography that inside you have the water. So the program is very easy. So you get from here, you have a main living room, and with a kitchen, this is a place to put the car. And this is also something on this space that was important. So we have here the double volume here, where you have like the main bedroom is here, where you have, you know, dressing rooms, main bedroom, small living room for the couple, and here are for the kids. And this is the corridor or the balcony that goes around. But here on that space, there are also this whale, the suspended whale, the two stairs to go up, and this final element that is a small house that we use to fine-tune the space. And they've been rebuilt 2 or 3 times because we were fine-tuning. And this is interesting when you have an element that in the end of the project, you can really adapt the project until an end. And it was on that case, that small construction inside. This is a photo of when you finalize the house. It's exactly the same of a photo of the model of 1 to 20 that was in the office. So at the beginning, I was even doing confusion between the model and the house, but we know that it's the house from, you have like plugs there, but this is exactly the house. So the house is this whale, the stairs, there are another one here, and this is the element that we use to finalize this. So some photos of the house when we were finalizing the construction. Then you see here, again, the swimming pool on the other direction, so the whale that's going to be. So this is only one line with 1 centimeters that keep the water, so makes this work, and the second line in here to create light on the swimming pool. But they are the only lights that they have. Each one of the lights have just 1 centimeter. Apart from that is this topography. This is also one aspect of the house that is important. The house is always redesigned by the different lights that get in on the space. And here it's an element that I like, because a house, or what we do, is always a kind of a starting point. I like to say, to imagine it's an art that is incomplete, and it's only completed when you adjust life into this. And this is the clients, it collects art, but they made this with a lot of freedom. But when you see house, you understand what you are designing for the house. So there are some elements of some photos of the house that are now used and have kids and have life inside. And here on the top, this is the only thing that, so you see here, for the water here and for the light there, these lines there, this was the only change that we made during the process, was to create this wall that also, it's of course an homage to Capri or to Villa Malaparte on this wall. Was, let's say, the owner of the house was always a little bit like struggling with this building. That is a fantastic building because it's a great typology of how that are, some of them are houses, some of them are industry, and it's very, very powerful. But I mean, for the owner, I mean, to be in bikini, she preferred to have the wall, so we designed that. We built that wall for them, for her. So when you see now the position here, and also one of the interesting elements of this house is since the house have been built, the city made a plan and they are renovating all this. They're going to demolish this and they're going to renovate the area. And I think that this idea that architecture could create a positive impact is also something very, very, very important. Now, changing from this idea of different materials, we jump to continents. We start with Africa, and the first house that I'm going to show you, it's a house that we are going to build. So the project, it's in the kind of a beginning of the project, or the beginning. We are doing the project and hoping to start soon the construction, but it's in an island called Cabo Verde. It's the island of Fogo. In fact, the island, it's a volcano. It's a very active volcano that comes out every 10 years. And this is the volcano, it's here. This is the island. Normally, this side is protected because it's higher. This wall is higher. So normally they go on that direction, the problem, okay? But in our house, it's going to be around here. And we wanted to build a house exactly with the material of the volcano. The volcano is fantastic when you go there now. You have the one that came out 20 years, and now it's all black, and you start to see some plants coming out. So you see everything is black with some green plants coming out, or you see the new ones that are 10 years ago, when they come out 10 years ago, and you see like a space that it looks like black glass where some ruins still come out of this black glass. So it's a fantastic ambience. And our idea is to build, if we're going to build a bigger house using an old Portuguese ruin there, but we start by designing the house for the people that are going to live and work on the property. And we start the house by this very traditional, or the most traditional construction on the area of this idea of building these round houses, all done in this volcanic stone. The only thing that we are going to change is we are going to put the volcanic stones not only on the walls, but also on the roof. So it's going to be all done on the same stone. You see it here. So this is one sketch that we made. So the major house is going to be this one. So it's a living room with 2 bedrooms and a bathroom in the middle with some small doors here. And this, then they wanted to adjust a house for, the parents of these people here. So the grandparents in the end. So we're going to have like a space, it's a single space with the bathroom there. So we are going to start by building these 2 small structures. You see, they are like this in a plan. So you see it, a single bedroom here, and there's 2 bedrooms with a bathroom in here. So everything is going to be stone from the outside and wood in the inside, natural wood in the inside. So it's the ambience that they're going to have. So this Cabo Verde, it's known by, Cabo Verde means green cable, but it's only green because from that island you can see Africa that was green. Because in fact, this is not green at all. There are no trees, or there are only a few trees. And the landscape is like this, very, very tough, and it's only on that stone. Australia. This was the first house that we built in Australia, and was a family. Is Australian, and she is Japanese, and they came to Portugal to ask us for a house. And they were very interesting the way they ask the house. So first, they asked the house, they wanted to have a solid house that could correspond to a foundation for the family. And for us, this word foundation, it's a very deep word. And so we associate this with this idea of foundation that the Roman used to have, like when they start by a cross on the ground, or Brasilia, like you see on the photo, when Brasilia starts and they open a cross in the region, in the jungle to start on the forest to start Brasilia. So our idea starts exactly by this idea of creating a cross that could implement the family on their for their new house. The house is there, very close. You can see here. So this is Melbourne. It's there. This is the bay. This is the beach here. So the house, it's very, very, very close to the beach. And we decided to make a house that starts by being a house where cross was not a positive cross. We decided to make a cross like being light. So it's a light. When you say, how do you say light that came from the light that came from the sky? Skylight. So it's a skylight. It's a cross that is a skylight that divide the house in 4 areas, but also divide the garden in four areas. So this is the skylight. This is the diagram of the house. And you see it here. The diagram is like here because the house can be used here where you have the dining room, supports, living room, and main bedroom. So we said when the couple are alone, they have this. They can extend this to this area that is the tatami room, or they can extend for the grandkids here, the grandchilds, they could also come here. The intermediate generation, they go out in this bedroom or this bedroom, and then they have a service area here. So let's say we start by dividing this in 4 gardens, and the 4 gardens are the entrance garden, the productive garden, the main garden, and the kids' garden. So the house is divided in 4 by this absence or by this light, or also the gardens are divided in this exactly system. And this is the lighthouse, so the skylight. So the skylight is this transparency where you have like this cross very clearly on the house. And this is so the plan of the house. So the house, there's an entrance here, the kitchen, dining here, living, bedroom. So this is the main space that can be independent, tatami room, kids here, and the 2 daughters, they have these bedrooms. And this is the small office for the owner. And the 4 gardens are the entrance, production, kids, main bedroom that have the swimming pool there. We also designed 2 stairs on the house. 2 stairs to go up, to go to this terrace, not because it's important to go this terrace. I don't believe that nobody goes. I mean, I'm not seeing the family going up to this terrace. But the terrace have one aspect that is fantastic. That's when you are on the terrace, you feel that you are very close to the sea. But the most interesting aspect on this terrace is that you have 2 stairs, so one here and another one there, and you have the feeling of freedom of go up. So, and this in a house or in a house, it's probably the most interesting aspects, the things that you can discover. When Tommaso di Lampedusa in the Leopard mentioned a house to be a house, you cannot know all the spaces. It's about this. It's about this freedom. That sometimes it's also, you have to do it in the social houses when you do small spaces that have no function. And here it's about this. You can have, and you can go up and down. You have another freedom on using the house. Not because it's a functional thing, but because it's a freedom on this house. So this is the entrance here. You enter from there, you go up on these stairs, And also another aspect that is interesting is that, or important, is that we design the house at this level, but we have the walls that define the gardens go upper. So they have another scale that is independent from the scale of the house that we build. So you see it here. This is a crossing to the productive garden, but you see that these are not at the scale of the house. They have another scale to make a relation to the patios. So this is the main patio here. So here it's going to be the swimming pool. This is the main patio where you have this also this small open. When you cross if you cross the roof, you can see from here this main point in front of the kitchen. This is the other stairs. So these are the kids' garden and the main garden office here, and the other stairs to go up that's connect to the stairs on the entrance of the house. And this is the inside, the lighthouse that also have these 4 doors in wood that could close and make the different situations on the house, independent of the people that are on the house on that moment. So here you have the kitchen, dining room, the tatami room, that is exactly what a tatami room is, and the living room with the fireplace on the corner here. And from that wall, from that door there, you get in the main bedroom. And this is, again, the entrance. And you can see the house, it's full. This is something that I love on this house, because we work with her. She is Japanese, and we work with her to find these details that you don't know why, but makes the house have this taste, this special smell of being Japanese. When you look into stones like this or this piece of wood, the house have this Japanese smell. So now, India, we are doing a house in India, a big house in Delhi. But the client, that is a super fashion designer, very, very talented man, he starts by invite us for the wedding of his sister, and he made the wedding on this fortress. It's a super fortress. It's a huge fortress. It's a big space with 4 palaces or 6 palaces inside. And he invited us because he mentioned that this fort, this Royal Nagaur fort, was for him probably the best space in India. And for us, this was the starting point of the project, because he was, in the end, was very clear what he wanted to mention, or he was in love with this fort. And what we saw that he was in love with this fort is this idea that you have in India of these different layers that you could work. So you can move from one space to the other, and there are these columns that makes a kind of a shadow, and so the interior gets more, you have like these levels of columns, and this outside, intermediate, protected, more protected. And this idea that the columns creates these spaces are for us the starting point of the project. This is the area. So the area, it's a site, it's a very big plot with incredibly old trees, some new trees that we are planting. So he's really in love with plants. So we are planting the trees, and the garden is also a very important part of the project. And what we are proposing now are this incredible number of columns here. And the house is going to be like this. So you have like these areas here. It's the main house is here. This is for himself, kind of a private house for himself. This is for him, for his parents, for his daughter, for his sister. And it's here, guests here. And this is where, this is what it's for here. It's where the bigger trees are. So what we are going to build and what we are building now are the columns. And what is fantastic in the process here in India, because it's a very low-tech process, we do column by column. And it's incredible, the process, because they start to open a hole on the ground, they pray, respecting the ground and what they were changing on the ground, and they made a column. And we are building the column one by one, and in the end, we decided to make these columns all in white concrete, and then we are going to continue the project. And for us, this is fantastic because we are going to build this big structure, and then we are going to work only with wood to finalize the house. And we are interested exactly in doing this, a structure that is permanent in concrete, and then a house that we're going to finalize in wood. So those are the materials that we are going to use. So those are the elements that we find on the walls, the existing walls, because these are this big wall around the property that are in bricks and brick stone. So the surrounding walls there, we're going to use a concrete or a floor. We are going to use stones on the floor. The concrete that we are going to make is going to have more or less this color, so it's going to be a warm white, and we are designing everything else in wood. And this is the process that we are going to use. And here on that house, what we are more interested in, it's exactly on the process. So you see here the house is very, very high. You see it here, so it's, if you go, this is open, and then this is always this structure that gives you a kind of another scale into these spaces, and then the house is like this. So you get in, this is the house where they live, so living room, kitchen, these are for his sister, his parents, himself, guests, and here again for himself. India, it's a very conservative area, so he wanted to have a kind of an independent house for a kind of an independent life. So it's there, it's going to happen. And then here you see mark the major trees that we are going to use. And here we are going to design an outdoor pavilion for, let's say, kind of more spiritual element. So you see it here, this is the structure that we're going to start building. It's under construction. And this is a kind of illustration that we want to have. But in fact, when I look into these illustrations, I don't know. I know about the structure, but I don't know the results. I'm interested in going step by step because they have this rhythm, and the rhythm that is a rhythm that we also part of the project, and we also can use this rhythm here. But this is going to be something like that, the house in the end. So it's going to be all transparent, all wood, and this is this degree of privacy. There's also this gallery that's created first privacy, then there are the private spaces, and then you have the enclosed spaces in wood. So this is this kind of a protection that we're gonna design. It's a huge, huge, huge house, as you can see, but it's this structure that we wanted to. Now we go to Europe. Europe, I choose to show you a house that that we are doing a project for the house. And I show you because I think that it's interesting on the process. It's a very, very long house. We call it the 250 meters long house. In reality, we have 270 meters long house. So it's probably, we hope, that it's the longest house in the world. So it's something that we wanted to do. So it's like it's an 8 bedrooms house. And we designed the house thinking also starting from the reality found there. We have a plot, this is 1 kilometer by 120 meters. Then, by law, you cannot build on the first 50 meters. So this gives you a plot to build with 20 meters by 900 meters. And this starts the project in a way, like, woo. And we decided to make the house exactly like that. So we're going to have these volumes, And the volumes, they go up from each one of the volumes to the next one, they go up 7 centimeters. So, and it goes like this. And you have 7 bedrooms independent here. They are not bedrooms. They are a bathroom, a bedroom, and a small living room in each one of these ones with patios in here. So private patios for each one of the bathrooms and each one of the bedrooms. And you go like 7 times. And then here you have the last bedroom that is connected to a larger dining room and a larger living room. And then you continue and you have the swimming pool that is a 25 meters long swimming pool. But what is for me more interesting in this project is to show you this image. This image that was, let's say, by that time when I made this image, we were on the version 26. Now I'm not sure if you are on the version 37 or 39. I forgot. But you are on the version 37 or 39. And this is for me very important to show you because this is about exactly this. There's a concept, there's an idea, there's 30 ways of translate that idea. And I think that this is very important. There's never only one way to translate it, an idea. So for us, this was based in an idea of the way traditional village grow in Portugal. So they grow by addition, house by house, and they became villages, you know? And here it's exactly that. So we wanted to grow, and we decide this from the beginning. But as you can see, they start to become more consistent at a certain point, but they continue to change. And this is, so here we were on the version 26, but we are now on the version 37 or 39. And one of the things that makes this change also was another addition that are these fireplaces that were also very traditional south of Portugal. So we wanted to also have this kind of a vertical element that are the fireplaces that define most of these villages. And we use this to make the step in each one from each one of the houses. So you get there and the fireplace makes the difference. And the difference in height are the depth of the structure on the cover. So we always go 7 centimeters upper, but we use the chimney to make the change. So our idea is that we have this, we always have the patios there, and they are always on the living room, a special patio. And the special patio is always different. Sometimes they have 3 sides, 4 sides, 5, 6, 8, infinite size dimensions. And we made this, we designed this, and in a certain way, this was very clear as a mathematic approach. And then we make the game. We design the symphony when we decide the size or the shape of the different patios. And here we were more or less on the version 30-something. And it was here. So, and I explained this for you. So here was the idea of having the kind of a living room, a big bathroom with the extension of an external bathroom here, and a bedroom here. Here, and you see here the jump, the way it was changing. Of course, the chimney here, it's not a chimney, it's a super shower. 5 meters high shower, no, super shower. And then, when we were here and we were asking for price to build the house, I went to Japan. It's something that you should not do. And I went to the imperial palace, to the Katsura, and it was something in the light way that they built that kills me on that moment. And I decided to change completely this project into the 39 version, I don't know. But now we are asking for prices. So probably this is going to be close to this. And the big change here, as you see, is that we decide not to divide space. So we're going to have a patio where you could extend the way of sleeping exactly the way it was. There's another patio here that you could extend your shower in here. There's a patio, a special one that will be the one that are going to be different, that extend here where you can have a table, but you are not going to create any divisions. And so we are going only to have some curtains here that's going to divide the spaces. And this, now we decided to stop, build the concrete, and then continue doing options to the project. So, and this is the way it's going to be built now. And you're going to start building now this very, 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 very long house. So I end with America, not the States, not here, but Mexico, with a house that we are going to finalize for Christmas this year. And it's a house in Valdebravo that it's, where rich people from Mexico City have the houses. It's what it's, in fact. And we start this house in a way that was also interesting. I asked them to send me the program. The program was what? Living areas, main bedroom for the couple, 3 daughters, and a bedroom for the guests. So a very normal program for a house. And I put together the program on a site, understanding the position, understanding the program, the size of the program, and then I went to site to discuss the project. And then I arrived there, and they came and say, we want to live among the trees. It's our ambition. We love the trees. The trees are beautiful there. We want to live among the trees. And I say, so the project became very, very, very easy. We design project among the trees. So we make a survey of the trees, we decide the trees, and we design a house among the trees. And this is exactly the house. Now, this was a version. Now it's slightly different, but this is a house around the trees. So here you have the main house, and here you have the guest house in here for the friends. But we also designed a house that was a very simple slab, the minimum construction, only to hide the windows. It's the only construction that exists, is made to make, of course, we use the bathrooms to hide the glass, but we were interested in this idea of having just a platform where it's among the trees, but also that you can go up and be closer to the trees. And this is the project. So we designed that. We designed this minimum element that are the bathrooms here. And here it's a support for the kitchen. And here, again, a bathroom. And here where the glass could disappear, because for us, it's very important, this idea that the glass could disappear and you live inside, outside, it's the same thing. And then you have the stairs to go up and also use the platform or the roof. So the house is like this. So you have here the guest with the bathroom there, the kitchen here, a small bathroom that is the entrance here. Here you have the kids' bedrooms with where this all can disappear, all the glass can disappear. And here is the main bedroom. Again, the glass could all disappear. The house is going to be, now it's almost built, it's going to be old concrete, and then we are going to use a young tech that is fantastic, because I'm used to old tech. This is the wood, and it's a kind of a homogeneous color. Here, the young tech, it's a wood that you have a piece and comes from white to black almost. And it's a fantastic, there's a super vibration on this. So we're going to build this in this kind of a homogeneous color of the concrete that we're going to plaster it in a slightly more white. So it's kind of between the color of a white, it's more or less like white concrete, the color, and then you use all the furniture it's going to do in this they're very strong as a present tech. So the model is like this. So there's an entrance here where you have 2 stairs to go up, and then this is the paradise. So no permits, no rules, no handrails, no protections. This is a family with 3 kids, 1 with 4 years old, 2 with 7. No handrails on the cover, they don't want, and you are not obliged. So it's a kind of a paradise. So you go there, and everything is you measure by what you want, and never about the rules and regulations and these terrible things that we are always emerge. And then you see here, so this is the stairs when they come, when you get inside, this idea of going up, because the roof are going to be an important part of the house, and the chimeneas are the only thing that we didn't design yet. It's the only thing that I'm missing on the design. So I'm gonna design the chimeneas, but I don't know how to do it, so I'm postponing this. But the house have to be finalized for Christmas, so I have to do it now. And then you see here, so the ambience is this one. I only have very bad photos made by me with the telephone on site. And then you see here the living room. So you see here all this glass is going to disappear, and it's going to be exactly this, open like this. It's the fireplace in the center of the living room. These stairs, there, one of the stairs. This is one tree that existed there, so we leave it open to go up. The other stairs on the guest bedroom, on the guest bedroom, yes. And it's over. It's finished. So it was the 5 continents. Thank you very much.
We have time for 2 questions. If you have any, please raise your hand and we'll pass you the mic.
Hi. I would love to know how you decide on your form and shape making for the project, because you have a lot of very interesting geometries and the decision-making process behind them.
How do I decide the projects?
How do you decide the forms and the shapes in the project?
There's an interesting way of responding to you. Let me try. I think that was John Cage, I think, that wrote one idea that I love, that it's when I start something, I invite all my friends. I invite everything that I know. And then all my friends start to come out. And if I'm lucky in the project, I also come out and the project has this process. What I wanted to say with this is that I like to think that I don't decide too much on a project. What I work on the question. So I'm interested on the question. And what is interesting in architecture, there are no 2 questions that are the same. So you receive the question and you start working on the question. And our material to do projects are the problems. And you include problems, everything that you can imagine. Materiality, space, budget, rules, game, place, weather, whatever. You put everything together and your problems, and you start working on these problems on the project. And sometimes, I decided today to present houses because they could make a question, but sometimes the projects are complex in terms of programs and, in terms of are more complex than this. But I like to think that you put together everything that you can about the project. Then the project, they start to take decisions. Not you, the project. It starts to make clear what it should be, the project. And then you just have to go and follow the project to understand and get into a result. You know, one of the things that I always saying for the projects that the projects have to be something that you discovered, that you get tarnished with what's coming, that you cannot know from the beginning what you want. If you know what you want, the project is going to be boring. It's going to be predictable. It's going to be, not interesting to do. So you have to let the process go and find the process on the process. That's why I came to you coming with 5 materials to say, I don't know. I never know what's going to be the result on the project. I'm interested in find out on the project what's going to be the result. Or I'm interested in recognize things when I'm doing a project. I'm interested in, try to understand India going and work there. I'm interested in understanding places or people working on the project. But the project is not something that you decide. People don't come to me and I look at them and say, you're going to have a square house. No, I'm going to be working on the house until the house came out. And then we're going to find out on the process what's going to be the house. So one of the things that we know is that when a project is fresh and it's something that we discovered, it's wonderful. When the project is a kind of a response, predictable, it's horrible. So my fear is to give up of discovering things on the project and start doing things that I control. And I think that the project, it's interesting when you launch as far as you can your ambition, and then the process of the project is to find out how to do it. In my generation, you used to learn how to swim sending to the center of a swimming pool. And then was, necessary to swim. And I think this is the process of a project. You launch yourself into something that you don't control. It's only about ambition. And then the process of the project is to discover it. This is the project. The project, it's not a mechanical thing to respond to something. It's about discovering, about studying. It's about finding things that you don't control, but you're going to find out. Okay?
Thank you for the presentation. Can you speak a little bit more about, so you talk about process and the tectonics and the communication to get the product done and drawing and those mechanisms to achieve from the sketch to the final product in different regions?
I mean, my English is very poor, so I have to try to translate your question. Are you interested in the process?
The process, so we've seen sketches, diagrams. Certainly, there's a lot more that goes in between then and the finished product. Mm-hmm. And, obviously, the different locations have different ways of building. Concrete's concrete everywhere, but it's done a little different. And in that process, relearning concrete, or and then how do you communicate working drawing to a different region? And there is a familiarity everywhere, but I think it's interesting to communicate, the circle and the concrete there. And is it a bit fluid, or is it, this is the drawing and you have to follow it, whoever's implementing the work?
Okay. So the first thing that I have to say, it's a project, it's about controlling. it's control. And we have to control. I have projects where I control budgets, I control economical results, I control, doesn't matter. So each project have a problem and we respond to problems. And we have to control. Sometimes the control also involves the people that are in the project. Sometimes it's interesting, to work with people that are doing the concrete or to work with people that are doing the woodwork, and you work with them and we control the project because you control the limits, what they are going to do. But in any case, every project, it's very clear decision. So the process of a project is a process of control. So we control. But we control in different ways. I mean, when I was 40, I was maniac about the mathematic control of the projects, millimeter by millimeter. Now, getting old, I'm more interested in controlling the people that are going to work. But again, it's control. Our profession, our job is to control. This is one aspect. Then, for me, it's interesting to understand the richness of each one of the sites that we work. Here in Mexico, for instance, I have a good contractor. A good contractor that it's also, because it's in South America, I can change things, even after being, it's not so expensive. It's something that I cannot do if I'm working in Switzerland, but it's a condition. Or when I'm working in India, they do everything by hand. And they do at a speed that you cannot believe. They're going to build this column. So it's a festival to build a column. So you have time to think about it. Use time to manipulate the project. But it's not because they're going to do something that I was not decided. Everything is going to be decided. But I can use the time. I can use the way they work to implement the project. So I think that even that, in every problem or in every project, there are different ways of communicating the project. I mean, the process in the project is always the same. We defend that we never stop working in the project. Even when we do, let's put an example of a commercial building, we work on the project until the last day. For what? For the economical results of the project. Or we work in other aspects if you are interested in other aspects. So it's not that we choose the aspects that we're going to defend on the project. The project itself is going to choose the aspects that we wanted to defend. And we use the possibilities of the project, of the process in the project, in each one of these ones. Of course, the project in Alentejo, we know that the client don't have yet the money to do the house. So we can continue working on the project until save money in one hand, for sure, but in another hand, to give more value and the experience become more unique. So our idea is to do it like this, is that you use the process of the project and the conditions that you find to end the project. If I go back to the house in Melbourne, that house could be almost like that, but if the client was not Japanese, will be for me not possible to end the house the way we end it, with some of the details. And for me, this idea that is really interesting in architecture, it's to work not in a generic approach of what is a project, but it's in this condition that is really interesting in architecture, that each project is unique. there are no two projects that you can repeat. This condition gives you a lot of freedom and gives you a lot of capacity to really go into the goal that every project could have.
Cheers. Thank you.
It's finished. Okay. Thank you very much.